If you're volunteering on your HOA board, you absolutely need to see this. We're about to pull back the curtain on a hidden risk that so many board members just completely overlook, and honestly, it could cost you everything.
I know, that sounds a little dramatic, right? But here's the stone-cold reality. If your board gets accused of a wrongful act, and that could be anything from denying a paint color to mismanaging funds, the board members can be sued individually. Yeah, that means your personal assets are on the line. Your home, your savings, everything.
And this right here? This is probably the single most dangerous misunderstanding for any HOA board. So many well-meaning volunteers think their standard general liability policy has them covered for, well, everything. It doesn't. Not even close. If you're banking on your GL policy to protect you from the decisions you make in the boardroom, you are seriously exposed.
But hey, don't worry. In this quick explainer, we're going to break down exactly how you can shield yourself and your personal finances. We'll show you what real protection actually looks like, and if you're already thinking you need to check your coverage, the link for a free, zero-obligation quote is already waiting for you down in the description.
Okay, so let's get right into the heart of the issue. The biggest risks in an HOA aren't always a physical slip and fall, right? A lot of the time, it's a lawsuit over a decision the board makes, and understanding the difference between these two types of insurances is without a doubt the first step to being protected.
So let's make this super simple. On one side, you've got your general liability, or GL. Think of this as your oops coverage for physical stuff. Someone slips on a wet floor in the clubhouse, a tree branch from a common area falls and smashes a car windshield, that's GL. But on the other side, you have directors and officers, or D&O. And this is a whole different ballgame. This is for the decisions you make.
Honestly, this is the best way to think about it. D&O Insurance is basically malpractice insurance for your volunteer board. You know, just like a doctor or a lawyer has it for their professional decisions, you need it for your management decisions. It's built specifically to handle claims that come from running the association. It's not a nice to have, it's absolutely essential. So what does a wrongful act even mean? Well, it's a pretty broad term. It could mean someone claims you breached your duties as a board member, that you mismanaged the association's money, or even just that you enforced the rules in a way they felt was unfair. And when any of those accusations fly, D&O is the only policy that steps in to defend you.
All right, so let's look at some real-world examples. It's one thing to talk about definitions, but it's way more powerful to see what these lawsuits actually look like when they happen.
Okay, here's a classic. The board has a fundamental duty to maintain the common areas. But what happens when that duty gets neglected?
So, picture this. A homeowner sues the board. They claim their personal property, their stuff inside their unit, was ruined because the board knew about a leaky roof on a common building for months and just didn't act. See, the lawsuit isn't really about the water damage itself. It's about the board's decision not to fix the problem. That is a D&O claim, plain and simple.
Now this next one, this can get really ugly really fast, and it's all about the money.
Imagine a brand new audit comes out, and it shows that reserve funds were used for the wrong things or that money was just allocated incorrectly for years. A whole group of angry residents could easily sue the board, arguing that this screw-up has actually hurt their property values. This is a direct attack on the board's financial decision-making.
And finally, one of the most common claims we see. It all comes down to how the association's rules are applied.
A resident sues for discrimination. Why? Because you denied their request to build a new deck, but their neighbor, with a nearly identical request, got theirs approved last year? They're claiming the rules are being applied unequally and maybe even unfairly. In all three of these cases, D&O is the only policy that's going to pay for the massive legal bills to defend the board.
So this brings up a really important question for you and your board. Even if you have a D&O policy right now, do you actually know what's in it? Are you 100% sure about the exclusions and the sublimits that could leave you personally on the hook anyway? Because here's the thing, a lot of standard off-the-shelf policies have these huge gaps, these little carve-outs that can leave you and your fellow volunteers totally exposed. So this is a great time to just pause and click that link in the description for a free, no-strings-attached review of your current coverage. We can help you find those dangerous gaps.
Okay, we have talked about a lot of the risks. Now let's switch gears and focus on the solution. What does a good D&O policy actually do for you when a lawsuit lands on your doorstep?
The number one thing to understand is that D&O is mainly a defense policy. Look, even if a lawsuit against your board is completely ridiculous and has no merit, the legal bills to prove that you're innocent can be financially crushing. D&O pays for your lawyers. It pays for settlements or judgments, so that money doesn't have to come out of your pocket.
And please, don't underestimate those costs. Defending just one single claim can easily top 6 figures. A solid D&O policy protects the association's budget from getting wiped out by legal fees, and, most importantly, it protects the personal net worth of every single person on the board.
Let's just be real for a second. You volunteer your time, your energy, your weekends, all to make your community a better place to live. You should never, ever have to volunteer your personal finances too. Having the right insurance makes sure your good intentions don't get punished.
If your policy hasn't been looked at by a professional in the last year, you are probably exposed to new risks you don't even know about. Don't wait until you get that scary letter from an attorney. Click the link in the description right now. Get your free, custom HOA insurance quote, which comes with a full D&O review. We will make sure your board is buttoned up and protected.
And that's really the final thought I want to leave you with. The world of risk, it's always changing. So you have to ask yourself, is the protection you put in place last year, or maybe even the year before, really strong enough to handle the challenges and the legal threats of today?
I really hope this explainer was helpful. If you got some value out of it, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button for more HOA risk management tips. We'll see you in the next one.